I'm a firm supporter of the Second Amendment. I also want to make sure that we do not rush to conclusions about the Stand Your Ground law or any other laws in our state. We look forward to hearing from the citizens of our state about their concerns and recommendations for keeping our state safe.
Welcome back to Harvard. That was now somewhat famous Florida Governor Rick Scott yesterday announcing a task force he's created to review the state's Stand Your Ground law, now the center of public debate following the death of Trayvon Martin. Well, the 17-member task force is headed by Florida's Republican Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll. There she is, an NRA member who voted to pass the Stand Your Ground law while serving in the state legislature back in 2005. She also voted in favor of the Take Your Guns to Work law. Wow, in 2008. What is going on? With me are two members of the governor's task force. Senator Gary Siplin, he's a Democratic Florida state senator who voted to pass the Stand Your Ground law in 2005. And Kenneth Bell, he's the former Judge Bell's the former Florida Supreme Court Justice. Well, I don't live in the heads you guys live in, guys. I mean, this pro-gun thing, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. I sometimes think you all want to go back to the Long Branch Saloon with what is his name, the Marshal Dillon, and trying to clean up the why. I got to start with something really basic. Stand your ground, okay, I guess I can figure the arguments about if you're out in the street somewhere and somebody's really trying to kill you, you have a right to defend yourself, fine. But what's this gun fetish you're into? You first, Senator. Why'd you vote for Stand Your Ground? Why are you voting for all this gun play?
Well, you know, that's
you got 900,000 people in Florida with concealed weapon licenses. Almost 1 million people walking around in Florida today. You go into a movie theater, you got 20 guns in the movie theater with you. What's that about?
Well, you know, the law was a result of the looting after the hurricanes in Florida.
Oh,
and they wanted to protect
me a break.
Our citizenry.
The looting after the hurricane. Oh, so in other words, you put a sunset law on this that only lasted through the hurricane.
No, it's a good policy. You know, I think what we tried to do was protect the home because a person has the right to defend themselves in their home, and a lot of people don't live in houses; they live in cars, so they have the right to defend themselves in their car.
I'm sorry, Senator. I think you're into the BS land here when you say defend your home. The right to carry a concealed weapon is not the right to have a shotgun upstairs in a closet. It's the right to walk the streets, probably walking it rather proudly, with a gun in your pocket. Why?
Well, you know, this is America, and the Constitution allows you to have the bare arms.
No, your law allows it. Your law allows you to carry a concealed weapon.
Well, but that's true. Just like other states in the United States of America allows concealed weapons too.
I think you guys are flipped out. Let's go to Judge Bell. You're part of this problem too. Are you one of these guys that thinks everybody should walk into a restaurant armed? No, really.
No,
there's people that are out there, they won't go to certain hotels unless they let them in with a gun. Unless they're packing and let people pack, they won't let them in to have a meal. This is Long Branch Saloon stuff, guys. And I grew up watching Matt Dillon, but thank God I didn't live in that town. Your thoughts, Senator? I mean, Judge Bell.
Well, I'm on the task force that the governor appointed because my experience with the general law of using justifiable force in defending yourself, and that's what the Stand Your Ground, what you call the Stand Your Ground law is about. It's not about guns. It's about whether or not and in what circumstances you're allowed to use deadly force to protect yourself or your family or others. So
what else are we talking about besides guns, Judge? You said it's not about guns. What do you mean?
Well, Chris, it's about public safety.
Well, no, Judge, you're on the stand here. You said it wasn't about guns, stand your ground. Well, in the Trayvon Martin case, it's clearly about guns. If Mr. Zimmerman didn't have a gun on him, I don't know what would have happened, but the other guy wouldn't have been shot.
Well, what if he had a knife? What if he had a baseball bat? What if he had a sword or any other weapon? I mean, there could have been other weapons used in the case that he could have used deadly force in an appropriate, inappropriate way. And the purpose of the task force is to look at the changes to the law. And the law itself doesn't address the issue of the right to bear arms or concealed weapons. The law that's in question is justifiable use of force. And the presumptions and the immunity and other things given there.
Let me get back to Senator Siplin. Why do you think it's a good idea to review this law and see if it's a good law or not?
Yes, I do, because a lot of defendants who use deadly force under suspicious circumstances are resorting to the Stand Your Ground defense. And I think it's appropriate that we do go across the state of Florida, which is our intent, to take testimony, to review those cases that are suspicious and see if we do need to go back to Tallahassee and redraft the law or tweak or do something. But we do
because it's an easy defense, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think it's being abused throughout the nation.
Give me an example how it's been abused in your lights, by your lights.
Well, here in Sanford, Florida, with Trayvon Martin and Mr. Zimmerman. You know,
no, please don't go into. Let's not litigate that case here. Give me it, because that case is going to trial. Find another case. You're a state senator. You must know other incidents where it's been abused.
Well, I think there's a case there was a case in Jacksonville where a person was walking down the street, and he ended up killing the person and utilized the stand your ground defense, and he won.
Okay, let me ask you about that, Judge. Here's the question I have. You know, everybody knows that in this country, especially in tough neighborhoods, you're going to have street fights. You're going to have people in bar rooms. People get into trouble, especially it seems about 2 or 3 in the morning. That's when all hell breaks loose. And one guy gets into a fight with another guy, and he says the wrong thing. The other guy pulls a gun and kills him, but he says, this other guy had a knife, or this other guy threatened me, or is that what we're talking about as an abuse, where there's clearly a killing, which is totally criminal, but the guy gets off because he says, or the woman, I guess, gets off by saying, the other guy threatened me, and there's no way to disprove that defense. Is that what we're talking about here?
That's part of the... Yeah, that's part of the problem in this case, and is the granting of immunity from prosecution or civil actions, and the granting of presumptions that you were fearful. It's primarily when you're in your home or in your car. There was a case in northern Florida where a gentleman was in his automobile and somebody attacked him, but then he was being pulled away, and as he was being pulled away, the gentleman in the car shot him. And the immunity applied. So I think it just as much law.
Why would he be able to shoot somebody in self-defense, even understand your ground, if the other guy was no longer a threat to him?
Well, because there's a presumption that he was in fear. And there was a presumption that the gentleman was intending to hurt him, and then there's that immunity. So there's a lot that needs to be looked at by the task force, and as much law, I think this is a great task force. There are people from a broad racial background, geographical background, interests from different communities, and I think it's a great opportunity. A tragedy occurred in Trayvon Martin, and we can be destructive or divisive, or we can be constructive and bring unity, and I think this is an effort, and that's why I'm involved, or agreed to be involved, is an effort to look at it and bring balance where necessary.
Well said. Thank you so much, Judge Bell, and thank you, State Senator Gary Siplin. Please come back on the show. I'm sure we'll be talking about this as you proceed with your task force.
Absolutely.
Up next,